crested the ridge, and it's in Gold Creek, and Gold Creek runs right through your public.
Oh, does it really? Yeah, actually, I know some people that actually went over to Republic today just because they were helping evacuate people.
Talked to some people that been out hiking in the North Cascades, and they got as far as the Crest Ridge Trail right there, about a good old thing. Looked down and saw the fire and thought, whoa. You know, because they were in the 41 up beyond Mile Loop, and they said no, and they cut back and went back to the trail. And when they got to the trail, they decided to cross. They got to the trailhead in their car, and they said it was about 6 hours to do. So they couldn't get the downtown, so they got the winter. And they said it was the weirdest thing. They got the winter, there wasn't a soul, it was all gone. You know, nobody was there.
Really?
So they drove down, passed through Chelan, all that. Finally got a motel room in Wenatchee, because they had to go and then come over Highway 2. It was so late by the time he said it was just a constant stream of fire. You know.
Well, we were going to go backpacking in the Passaic
No, I don't think that's a good idea. When are we going to go?
in September.
Oh, well, you know, it might be, things will settle down, they get a little rain.
Well, last time we went there 2 years ago, it was burned out.
Yeah, you don't hit it very good. But 70 was the year we burned all our country in this state.
Yeah.
Boy, it was, one burned from one end to the other, crystal clear back down into the National Valley, all that country. I don't know.
It's not worth it, you know, because they're already in. Can't drink beer or anything. Hi, y'all.
Hey, Robert. Howdy, Shorty.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
That doesn't look like construction wear.
No, it don't. It feels good.
It's like after construction wear.
Trust me, that might look like Pigpen going down the road. Dust Bowl. Put a long sleeve on for afterwards, because when you're out in this all afternoon on a machine and everything, that 70, 75 is, you know,
Pretty nice.
it gets cold at night.
Beat the hell out of that 86 and 87.
Okay. Now the last few days have been just pleasant.
Yeah. Pulling up a bit.
Yeah.
Huh? Jessica's the new person in charge.
What those for certificate?
Oh, here's
Did they handcuff you outside when they come check on the one?
Is that what it was?
Oh, they show up already?
No, Richard, he's got a code, he shut it off.
Fun.
Huh? No, it didn't sound outside.
We just had a lighting, but it didn't.
I didn't want to give the cooks away. They
So Brenda, you
hang
can
around
check
for a while.
Huh?
You check on it, find out what's wrong with you.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to find out why, yeah.
Or do you want us to call the office?
That was, the baby? Annalena.
These glasses are old. Reading portion ain't even working no more.
Are they prescription or throwaways?
No, they're prescription.
Oh.
The throwaway ones work better than these do right now. the 2 for $10 ones.
That's what I wear.
For reading.
I got those all over my house.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I go wear it every week.
Lunch pail, truck, office.
5, 10 at a time. What are you working on, Robert?
Subdivision, 15 miles. Trying to get it done.
On the site work?
What's that?
Site work or?
On the underground and everything. Just overseeing it. We had hired another crew to come in and do it for us because can't find them.
Yeah.
Can't find operators, can't find pipe guys.
We had a bid on a water treatment plant the other day. It came in significantly higher than the engineer's estimate. And the engineer said it was because the contractors are raising their prices because they can't find good help.
Mhm.
And they don't want to hire anybody. So they're basically getting maximum dollar for whatever's.
Well, they're not ready to go out and hire the 15, 20 people like they used to
Right, right.
because they didn't afford to keep them going year round.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing the same thing. All our bids are coming in really high.
Way high, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been going on all year.
Well, you just can't find help that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, back in '08, there was a lot of them, but I think they all retired. And the kids today,
Yeah, you got it.
yeah,
Just like the despairing act, huh?
pretty much, pretty much. You know,
That should keep you busy for a while.
yeah. Trying to teach this one new kid we have to run the roller back and forth.
Yes.
All you gotta do, back and forth. Took him 3 hours to figure out he doesn't have to turn the steering wheel, it goes straight, back and forth.
That's what back and forth means.
Then he turns around, what are you doing? Oh, I could have thought, don't think, back and forth. Maybe missed the other guy, just quit. All he said it was one of those lever ones. He goes, it's like a slot machine that you never win.
Places and summer's gonna be over pretty soon.
Okay.
Straight back and forth.
You got it recorded?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, by my watch, it's 7 o'clock, we'll call the monthly meeting of the Whatcom County Water District 14 to order.
What district now?
13, excuse me, sorry, Tom.
I don't even know what, 14.
14 is fire district.
Oh, fair.
13
That's why he understood that one.
water district. I woke him up.
Surely confused you.
All commissioners are present. Kelly Wynn and Brenda Demise from Wastewater Services and our engineer from Ray Osborne, Roger Kuykendall, present, and there are 5 members of the public present. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
I have an addition.
Pardon?
I have an addition under new business in the capital improvement plan.
This regards to the engineering or the comprehensive?
The plan itself and some wording, and I prepared something for everybody. I just need to present it.
Are there any other additions? First item of business will be the claims request form for 8/11/15 in the amount of $17,499.35.
Move approval.
Any second?
Yeah.
I bet I didn't. Oh,
It has been seconded?
Yeah.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor for approving the voucher, the claims request?
Aye.
Aye. All those
Opposed?
opposed.
3, 4, and 2 against. The claims request form for 8/25/15 in the amount of $3,476.11.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. The claims request form of 8/25/15 in the amount of $879.65.
Approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously passed. Next item of business will be the minutes of July 28th, 2015. Are there any corrections or amendments to the meeting members? To the minutes, excuse me.
Everyone knows about this change? Everyone knows about this change?
No, and let's vote, hold everything.
Pardon?
Well, then let's hear about it.
Page 2, under meeting attendance. Very last word in that little line. Change for members. Not
Wait a
members.
minute.
The change to the minutes would be under the item meeting attendance in the board packet as requested with this year's approval of meeting attendance. This was provided to all of the board members rather than them. That correction so noted? So moved to approve the amended minutes.
I'll make an approval to approve the minutes.
Pardon?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Then,
Oh, you second, okay, now second.
For approval of the amended minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous to approve the amended minutes. Financial report. Year-to-date expense. Approval item.
So this is through July for water, and for water, we're tracking about 35–37%, and we're probably about 58% of the way through the year. Any questions on water? Wastewater, we're tracking about 46%, and we are approximately 58% of the way through the year. Any questions on wastewater?
Yeah. We're talking about this, right?
Yeah.
Collection system on in, that's, would be any work that is done that is related to the sewer system, the collection system.
That has nothing to do with sludge.
No.
Can I ask a thing on the wastewater? What, did we have Howard dig a trench for?
The electrical, up at the reservoirs?
Oh, up there,
Yeah.
okay.
That was not wastewater, that was water.
Oh, that was water.
Oh, I guess so.
But
Yeah.
that's what the trench was still talking about.
Gotta ask, how far do you have to go?
60 feet.
Oh, okay. You're gonna have to go all the way down.
No.
Oh.
Just between the two towers and then some.
I'm all done with my water and wastewater.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the year-to-date expense. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously. Treasurer's report.
This this is for July, this is from the county, this is balances back to your QuickBooks and your cash position.
Approve.
I'll second it. Give us
Moved and seconded.
opportunity here.
Approve the treasurer's report. I present it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Cash position, this will be a review.
Yep, this is just for review, this is as the end of July, and it just has all your available funds in each account.
I see that we have $379,709.29. If we had to get liquid, how long would it take to turn that money over?
Within 24 hours, through the county.
So there's, and would there be penalties on these investments?
No, there's no penalties.
Okay.
Petty cash.
So there's a spreadsheet in there for the amount of $169.93.
That's why it's going for 169.93.
$169.93, yeah.
Approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. This is a review on the collections report.
Yep, this is for July. It breaks out between your sewer and your late charges, your water, your late charges, any miscellaneous income, interest, and then at the bottom it breaks it down by each month.
Any questions? Age receivables.
So this is just a breakdown between July and August. And in July, we processed 20 credit cards for just over $2,800, and we paid $76 in fees.
Questions? Delinquents accounts report.
So I can tell you right now that there's an error on the second account. Actually, it goes to the third account. There's a $100 payment. It states on account number 2, but it's actually account number 3.
Count.
Yeah, 2006.
So the $100 should be on 2006.
Yep.
Thank
The
you.
10115 is a tax payment. There's no
Okay.
payments being made on that one.
I know, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
On the delinquent accounts report, I'm still trying to figure out how to read these things and get the right answer, because I show a previous balance as, on account number 30111, I show a previous balance of $3393.30, and then a current balance of $3393.30, and then now there's a lien amount of $843.30. Why don't we lien it for the whole amount that they owe?
Well, on paper, if a lien reads nowadays, in the old days, you had a good point. Nowadays, it says plus any additional interests and penalties occurred, or you can keep spending $62 every month and do what you're saying.
72.
Or 72, I'm sorry. So do we really want to spend the 72 when we know nothing's happening?
Well, but it automatically catches up.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the case of a tax foreclosure, you're right, we do need to update those liens.
Tax,
Tax
there's two different
foreclosures.
types on them. The tax foreclosure does require.
But foreclosures, they have to pay the full lien amount off of what it is at that time.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we're down to the public forum. Any public comment?
I got a question. Are you guys going to continue going through the county with your voucher system, or are you going to contract it out now that you're going to start charging $5 a check?
I think all that's payroll.
That's on payroll.
That's on payroll.
We have no payroll on this.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
But I understand it's an impact on some.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you guys had plans. Picking brains, yeah, that's all of it.
Yeah.
Doesn't affect us.
Right now, that's all, as they maybe decide that they're gonna charge. It would be difficult with our small size and everything else to go out and it might be the way we should be going, but right now, it's pretty convenient to have the county
Oh, yeah,
be
yeah,
responsible.
yeah, and you don't have that many, so, yeah.
Anybody else got a comment? Any other comments? Let's move on to the water and wastewater report, then, Kelly, please.
This is for July 2015. Let's see, we are down about 2% in water consumption from last year. Well depths are remaining normal, haven't dropped, staying right where they usually are. And basically, we have been working on the reservoir project, so the electrical has been installed. Well, it's on agenda items, so I'll, any questions on water?
About when do we anticipate we'll finish the silo project,
Well, Mount Baker Silo's coming in Monday
or Monday?
to wrap it up,
I understand she finished the electrical today.
yeah. They did, yes.
So when do we expect an inspection?
They were calling this afternoon or first thing in the morning before they
Never
inspected.
know.
Okay.
Any other questions on water? Wastewater, and the water met all of the Department of Health standards for testing. Treatment plant flow is down by 7% from last year. Installed a new battery in the generator. We had a scheduled power outage where it was in the middle of the night. I think Ken was out and dealing with that. And we have picked up the backup aerator from Mac and Mac. And we met all NPDES requirements. Any questions on wastewater? I would point out that on water consumption, we're right there at about a 10% unaccounted for water, which is good. That's where we want to be. Could be lower, but on average, we're at about 10%. We're bouncing back and forth between 8 and 12%. Looking good. That between 8 and 12, that average is 10. That's right, we're in the good zone.
Thank you.
Huh?
We've already talked about the reservoir, so we'll go on to business management report.
There's a meeting log in the packet. If anybody has any changes or anything, just review it, and if you see something, just let me know, otherwise it's just for your information.
No other questions? Let's move on. We'll move on to unfinished business then. Next item will be the Boswell Fall Conference.
New business?
Yeah, that's what I said, under new business.
Yeah, there's nothing unfinished.
There's nothing under unfinished, I said new business.
Well, it's all finished.
Yeah, we're all finished.
We're Swedish.
Thanks, bro.
Did anybody see the email on the tablet today? There's a reduction in hotel prices if you get it before the 25th of August.
Yes.
Today?
See
That's
it?
today.
They would come out with it today.
Well, it was on first night today, yeah.
We have that.
It's only about $11 or something, but still, $11 is $11.
I have an interest in attending.
Pardon?
I have an interest in attending this.
Why, so,
These?
do we need a motion?
Okay.
Anybody else?
I got a toy run that weekend.
You have a what?
Jackie, are you interested in
I'm
going?
sorry?
Are you interested in going to the fall conference?
No, thank you.
Tom? Well, I'd like to go, so. Motion?
Make a motion to approve the two individuals, Tom, Richard, and Phil, that wish to go to the conference.
My second.
And that includes the hotel, 2 days of commissioner pay, mileage,
Lodging.
lodging.
How about the tuition? Did you say that?
Yep.
I second it.
Yeah. Been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
All right.
September
Aye.
Aye.
25.
Opposed?
Aye.
It's passed 3-2. Thank you.
So you were the swing vote that tied it up? or-
Yep. I voted aye. Under new business, Tom, the floor is yours.
Well, it's not, this is only gonna take a few minutes. I've been going over the comprehensive plan, and I realize I'm getting old, but I swear to God, there's things in there that weren't in the one that I approved. And I've outlined all of it that should be changed that takes liability off of the district. As an example, there's almost $3 million here of projects where the developer should pay for the whole thing or a very large portion of it, and it's not, the money's not assigned to anyone, and or for anything. So there should be clarification on those projects. As I say, that it's going to take some studying on this, and I don't expect it to get done tonight. So I'm asking the chair at this point in time for a special meeting to be held strictly for the corrections on this comprehensive plan, to be held as soon as possible.
Do you have a copy for our engineer by chance?
Yeah. I'm not good at this.
I don't know. I figured you should.
Can't get past the table back there.
I have, you want one for you in the office?
That'd be great if you got an extra one.
Okay. What I would like to see is that we all have a chance to study it, and then we'll take a shot at thinking how we'll answer the questions that you brought up, Tom.
That's fine.
But
I just want, of course, for the 12 years people have known me here, I'm overly conscious of what corrupt attorneys can do. And when you have a document that you say is your 20-year plan, and there's some holes in it to the tune of $3 million, I wouldn't want to see us get sued to fulfill all of those things, even though they're directly responsible and related to the developer's building.
And so one of the first things we need to do is identify the $3 million hole.
Well, I
Well,
think
it's
that
already
we
done.
need to correct a couple of things.
Right here.
Well, I know that, but.
Right here, Phil,
Okay.
all of that.
But it's granted that, but I still think we need to take a look at it so we understand what we're looking
It's not a 20-year plan. Okay?
at. That's why I asked for the difference.
No, not another 20-year plan.
This plan is not for 20 years. It's a 6-year plan. Okay? Comprehensive plan is for 6 years on water. You're not mandated by law to have one for sewer.
Well, Tom's talking about the wastewater.
This is
Sewer,
This is sewer
Yeah,
service,
this
and it's under chapter 7 of the capital improvement plan in the comp plan.
Well, there's, okay, all right. And I don't think that any attorney had a great deal of input into it.
No, I don't
It's
believe
an
it.
engineering document, it's not a legal document.
Well, it's like I said,
Just
you
a
know,
couple-
things are getting tighter in the community especially, and even I'm feeling the pinch of the financial thing. I can't afford to pay off a $3.5 million loan through my water bills. And there's some wording in some of these things that says that they're expecting these things to be paid by the sewer.
Well, I
Can you
think.
show me some of those, point out some of those?
They're all in there, Richard.
Just show me a couple. It says we're gonna be stuck with someone, by the language you just said.
Okay,
Just one example so I can highlight it.
well, it is already highlighted for you, I'm assuming.
I don't see any language highlighted. Where it
Okay.
says we gotta pay, or
Wait
they
a
don't
minute.
have to pay.
You're gonna have to read the tables in there, and I have to admit, I can't come up with that right this minute, but it's in here. I included all this stuff. I mean, I guess from looking at this copy, there isn't stuff.
So when I read this, I should be looking for areas.
Well, first of all, you need to look
that we have
at the
to-
schedule, and it's marked A, B, C, D, and E, as to who's gonna pay for the stuff. Okay? And if you'll notice, most of it puts it back onto the ratepayers of the district. I mean, you're gonna have to study it. Everybody here is gonna have to read it in its entirety. Because I read it 3 times, and I came up with more and more and more.
So for example, on this last page, second item down, replace influent pump station force main where it says B, C, D. You don't think that the district should have anything to do with that? That should all be a developer, for example. Or just this one that's highlighted here where it says WWTP MVR upgrade BD. General
Well-
facilities charges, revenue bonds, and monthly service charges.
No, that's the thing that we need to discuss, and we need to know it right now. How much are we going to do on that lift station? I can see anything from the lift station to the plant, any needs. But I can't see us paying for that force main that comes up Green Valley Drive from the baseball court. I can't see us improving the pump station because my philosophy is, and has always been, we're doing fine with the amount of connections we have right now.
Well, that's the MBR upgrade.
Yeah, but the MBR upgrade is a membrane, and that's a new system.
That's a whole new
That's
system.
a whole new
And that's a
system.
developer charge.
The one that you highlighted?
All right,
Developer charge.
all right, we're gonna ask,
Okay, well,
I'll look at it first before I want to have a special
we
meeting.
need to look at it before we do it, so.
My thinking is I'd like to hear comments from our engineer
Yeah.
before I spend $500
And
for
the
a
other.
meeting.
You're paying for
What's it gonna take?
Or we spend $500 for a meeting.
Well, it don't bother you to go golfing on the money from the district? I mean, for crying out loud.
District,
Oh, wait a minute, hold it.
No, I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna argue. I'm just saying.
Roger, what do you estimate it would cost for you to come up with some, that you're looking at to answer some of these questions?
Well, I don't know what I'm looking at. I mean, I don't know what I'm
Okay.
looking for, because the comp plan has already been written and reviewed by the board
Yes.
and by the prior engineer, by us, by the Department of Ecology, by the county planning department and county engineer. It doesn't take long to look at it and decide whether or not, I mean, the funding sources that are there, those are the options for the funding source. It doesn't put in stone that it's going to be paid for through those 2 choices or those 3 choices, whether they're gonna be equally, split between those or whatever the case may be, so.
Well, let me ask you this.
I think these tables are more general as far as the funding is concerned.
Well,
Because
I'm talking
for
about
each
page,
project, you're going to look at it and try and figure out if there's a benefit to the district, if there's a benefit to existing customers, if it's solely a developer dominated project or warranted project, I should say.
Well, as an
And they're all
example-
going to be different, and it's all going to be different depending on the time that it occurs to.
Okay, who's gonna come up with $6 million under the item number 20? Now, when I look down here at the bottom, it says A is developer financing, B is general facilities charges and revenue bonds, C is grants and loans, D is monthly service charge. The only thing I see on that $6 million bill there is B and D. I don't see an A on there.
Well, I think the general facilities charges come from new development. So that's in B. Developer financing, like for example, A would mean he builds the whole thing himself.
And then turns it over to us.
Yeah, that would be like, he builds the internal piping inside of this plat and then dedicates that to the district. So that's an A expense, like 12 and 19. So the general facilities charge is the portion of development that goes into that project.
Well, I gotta admit, I don't expect any response from the board on this, but just give me the courtesy of reading this and imagining what can happen to our water bills if the district has to fund it.
Sure.
Sewer. And the deal was, when I even reviewed that comp plan, it was growth paid for growth. And we do not need a $6 million plant unless we have an excessive amount of growth.
Right, but I would say this, it's not the district's job to determine growth. It's your job to serve growth when it comes. The county is who dictates growth.
But when it puts the board or the district into a position to where we have to finance money, our only tangible way of paying that back is through the customers. Because we're not selling any bonds. And you know, when we talk about a $6 million membrane plan, which is probably gonna be needed someday if we get more than the allotted number of connections we have, but that was another question I had. I'd like to know what the official count is at this time on how many available connections there are in the district.
Yeah.
Not worried about the water as much as the sewer.
Well, that would be in probably chapter 3 of the comp plan. That information would be in there, either 3 or 4, I don't know which.
And subtract those connections that we've approved since the time of that.
Right, which haven't been that many.
Two.
Yeah, but water and sewer, there are connections left.
Sewer.
Could be 2 plus this.
Water, we still have a hole now.
Water, that's why
This had,
water, that's right.
Kelly just said 7, right, equivalent?
This building?
9.
No.
Yeah, I don't
No.
remember.
Okay, well, it's between,
No,
But I think
yeah,
there's an important part of this
Like
that's not being
4.5.
talked about too. And more than likely, new development will pay for growth and upgrades to the facility.
Yeah.
Okay? But you also have to remember that when I buy a car from Ford and it wears out, Ford doesn't give me a brand new car for free. I have to buy another one. So at some point in time, this facility is going to wear out. And it is the ratepayers that have to pay a portion of that. And so the wonderful thing about development is you can recoup most of those monies from the new development.
So right now, if it took $6 million, that number you threw around, once we sell the available 150 or whatever it is, we expect to get from GFC just roughly not quite $2 million. So then all of us here, plus the new 125 people, are gonna finance the other 40 million. Whether we like it or not.
And
No options.
the projection for that was 20 years into the future that growth will happen. But you also have to remember there's another thing that can happen, and that is the regulatory requirements can change. So all of a sudden, they can tell us that the treatment system that we have doesn't work.
Well,
But right now, the projections are 20 years from now.
yeah, well, they might be 20 years from now, but I don't want a paper floating around out there that lets some attorney take us to court and say, well, this is your comp plan. You see right here, you didn't even put the developer in this. And, you know, it needs to be,
The comp plan is a guidance document. It's not in concrete.
it's not cast in concrete, Tom.
I understand what you're saying, Tom.
Well, yeah.
And I don't think, I'll look at it, but I don't think the district is in any way taking on liability because of some letters in a table that are estimating or predicting where some of the funding's gonna come from.
well, I'd rather be safe than sorry, so if it's really what you say, then, you know, convince me of it, and
Okay, we'll do that.
now my questions are answered, but
And the other thing is it says BD, it doesn't say that B is 50% and B is 50%. It doesn't say that B is 20 and B is E.
no, the way I understood your plan, and I did understand it, you had the designated letters for where the source of the money was gonna come from. And I don't see why, as an example, on that one section with the $6 million thing, why there's not an A in there too. I understand that the district's equipment is nearly 30 years old, and yes, it's gonna eventually, we're either gonna get intimidated by the health department or, you know.
But A and B are the same.
No, it's
No, they're not,
specifically
they're not, they're not,
says-
they're not the
Not the
same.
same.
They're not the same, but
Because B is in that number, because
Yes.
they're gonna pay GFCs. The developer's not buying the plant, they're paying through GFC. So if they're not buying it, why would they finance?
right, I mean,
They're not going.
the district's going to construct it, and then they're gonna collect money from whatever sources you can find. I mean, I'm surprised that C isn't on there, which is grant loan funds, but,
Yeah.
I would say that one should be added to that column, but A is strictly for something that the developer's gonna build and dedicate to the district. And he's not gonna build the treatment plant and give it to the district, because we don't want him to build it and give it to the district. We want him to build it. So-
I agree with that, but I do agree,
Okay,
there should be a substantial amount of money coming from the developer.
I understand what
But
you're
in,
saying.
in regards to Richard's saying that we're gonna have to be responsible for $4 million, I'd like to have somebody explain to me where that money's gonna come from.
Especially with no more public works trust fund. That's a good question.
It's a
Right
damn
now, I
good
would tell you
question,
don't
Tom,
have
and that's, but let's look at an example. I'd like to throw out one here. Say that the Department of Ecology decides that our secondary treatment is not good enough, and they ask for tertiary. And they change the rule, and they're doing it all the time. This is a worst case scenario. I just want to point this out. And they dictate that we have to meet tertiary treatment standards. That means we have to construct a plant that meets that standard. And the difference of what would happen, like it is, there would be a portion of what new development we have would pay that portion. But then the current ratepayers have to meet the expense of upgrading the plant.
Right.
That's worst case scenario. And there's anything in between, and that's what the comprehensive plan was deemed of.
Yeah, it's a planning document.
It's a planning document. Has nothing to do with setting producer liability.
Well, the reason I prepared all this, I think the board really needs to go into depth about these things and decide if they're okay to leave in there.
Okay.
So,
So I guess my question would be then what, there was a motion on the table and what, or was there a motion on the table?
no, this is just an explanation.
I just need to know what you want me to do.
I don't, at this point, nothing, I don't think.
Well, let's hear from, what people think, and what do they want to do?
During the meeting?
No.
Yeah, and I'll second that one, because I can tell you,
Yeah.
we're gonna need to do some serious reading before.
Yeah, there
This
has to
thing
be
you-
something. So can we leave it there, Tom, the fact that we'll study,
Yeah.
and we'll bring it up again in the next.
I got a second.
All right, now, Robert.
During the meeting? Oh, excuse me, conclude the meeting.
No, see, it's kosher either way now, they changed the rules. Second motion.
Been moved and seconded, the meeting is concluded.
By the way, I don't think concludent is the word, I think it should be concludent. That's what's in the dictionary.
Thank you.
It's C-L.
I like that, Fred.
C-L-U-D-E-N-T.
I gotta sign anything?
Yeah.
Why aren't you ladies running for water commissioner?
Oh, we got that one, awesome.
Get to sign something.
Only one item? I like that.
Are you getting ready?
Do-do-do-do-do.
Why are you doing that? Is there a reason or is? Yeah. I know I did, I hate to say it. I've even done that, and we've had that discussion in the office. Oh, wait.
Oh, that's nice, you let Jackie sign
But
it.
you know, you get to that.
Here you go.
This section right here is what defines what the.
These are